let's retake that. Okay guys, so right now I'm driving the Maserati Levante S. Quick run of the facts. Price 788,000 ringgit. Powered by a 3-litre V6, producing 430 horsepower, 580 Newton meters of torque. Fast car, huh? And so on a performance spectrum, this is right up there in competition with the Porsche Cayenne S, but at a lower price. Maserati also tells me that they view the Range Rover Velar as one of their competitors, but to me, I think the Velar occupies a less sporty positioning than the Levante here, but apparently there are customers who cross-shop between the two models. Having driven this car for a few kilometers, right, so a few impressions come to mind. First thing, well, it is amazingly sporty. Let me just activate sport mode, and alright, I'm going to respond and bury the throttle. So if you hear that sound, it has that pop coming from that exhaust that it really, how should I put it? It really tingles your driving senses. I mean, there are a lot of SUVs these days that claim to be sporty, but this one, it adds a few touches to it, to the experience, and the handling is great. Car corners very stable, and high-speed stability also very good, and also very agile. So if let's say like you are trying to squeeze between gaps in traffic, right, all you have to do is just point the steering where you want it and the car just goes. It is almost a sports car kind of agile. But really, I think the centerpiece of the driving experience really is the noise of the engine. Just like what I experienced with the Ghibli the previous week, this one, really that noise that the engine generates really dominates the driving experience. And it really makes you feel alive when you drive the car. I mean, just listen to the sound of that. That sound, okay, the what you call it, the occasion, the sense of occasion generated by the drama of that sound, it really overturns, all right, masquerades whatever shortcomings of this car that you may come across. So right now I've got a clear stretch of road and driving on manual mode. Okay, got traffic ahead. Let me just hold that off. Driving on manual mode, and okay. So you see, right, as I entered the fast lane, even though I saw another car coming at a rapidly quick pace from the back right, I had no worries stepping into the lane, because I know as I step into the lane, I still had enough acceleration to power away before that fast coming car approaches my spot. That is the kind of confidence that you get when you have horsepower to burn under the bonnet. And like I always make this point, alright, so this car has a 3-litre V6 engine, large capacity. So the one point that I always make when I drive vehicles with big capacities, 3-litre upwards, there is that pleasant sense that the engine has ample of reserves, even though you are powering along at great speeds. So you get that very pleasant sensation that the engine is really kicking you on, but at the same time it still has so much more that it has yet to give you. But yeah, this is an SUV that is also really best enjoyed if you if you put in that little bit more work, you know, work the pedal shifters, drive it in sport mode. And and also one thing, when you drive this in sport mode, you notice that the engine response really sharpens, the suspension really sharpens. It adds a layer of firmness to the suspension that you don't get in normal mode. Now, the firmness of this suspension is noticeable, but it's not jarring. So, you know, when you drive it over an unpleasant stretch of road, right, it doesn't feel like it's going to, it doesn't feel uncomfortable, let's put it that way, right? Look at that, the way it gripped around that bend, my God. And it accelerates with such ferocity. The brakes are brilliant as well. I mean, this is after all at least 2 tons when you plus, you know, man and machine all add up. It's at least 2 tons of metal, and it held up. Singer. But yeah, the one thing really about driving this car is that even when you are, when you're feeling a little irresponsible, right? This car gives you that confidence, okay, because of its reserves in performance as well as its inherent agility, right? It gives you that performance to chase down all those narrowing gaps and just power through, and you have that knowledge inside you that you will escape unscathed from it. You will pull through, right? And this chassis just pulls itself around bends with such tenacity. And there were a few just now there were some mid-corner bumps, expansion joints. I just took on the accelerator pedal through. It just went over it, right, without so much as losing composure. And that to me is the sign of a well-sorted chassis. So, having seen what this thing can do when you really gun it, right, now we are approaching heavy traffic. We'll deactivate sport mode, go back to normal, drive it like how you would with a day-to-day car. How does it feel now? Well, everything softens a bit. The suspension gains an added degree of plushness, which is pleasant, right? Which is what you want really in day-to-day driving. The most notable part would be the engine. It feels significantly more dialed down than it was in sport mode, because in sport mode everything it had that edgy feel to it. When you press on the accelerator, it feels like it's ready to leap. But here, when you dial it down to comfort mode, when you step on the throttle, it feels like, you know, there's a bit of a cap to the engine's outputs. A bit too much lah, if you ask me. All right, it is so, which is why I think many drivers, when you buy one of these, you know, for your driving, I suspect many of you would probably want to use this on sport mode more regularly than you do in normal modes. But is it a passable day-to-day driver? I mean, in this kind of driving situations, now I'm driving in heavy traffic. Have to drive more sedately, more sensibly. Yeah, it's alright, it's passable. Everything feels smooth, comfortable. Right, steering is nicely weighted, doesn't feel cumbersome. This is quite obviously the tuning, the setup of this car, engine, transmission, chassis. It is obviously tuned to be sporty first and comfortable second, right? But I think the conclusion that we can draw is that it does sporty very, very well, and it does comfortable reasonably enough that you won't feel, this car does not feel tiresome to drive. Hi guys, so having just driven the Levante, this is how it looks like from the outside. So it's, well, they call it an SUV, but really it is such a low riding, it is so low riding, right, that it is not illegitimate to, the profile really is almost closer to that of a wagon than an SUV really. And okay, so as you see here, the front end, the wheels are very close to the front. The overhang is quite short, and let me just pop the hood. Alright, so this 3-liter V6 here, okay, this is the engine block. It is almost, you know, it's much of the engine is behind the front axle, so it gives the Levante an overall very balanced weight distribution. They claim to be 50-50, or even if it's not so, it has to be pretty close to that. Alright, so this 3-liter V6 here makes 430 horsepower, 580 Newton meters of torque. Right, and so design wise, let's look at the design. This car priced at 788,000 ringgit, but really it really looks the part. It looks, when if people were to look at this car, they would probably guess that you are driving an 900,000 ringgit car, and they wouldn't be far off. So you can see here, very aggressively designed, narrow headlights, a high position fog lamps here, okay, just to emphasize its SUV positioning status. And this grille here, all right, this lower vent, I rather like that it has this the way it laid these fins out here. Okay, it's a very expressive design. Okay, not easy to mold, I imagine. Okay, very intricate, very nice. And so you see this grille also very aggressive, big gaps here between the vents, the slats here, and the slats themselves are very thick, so it looks very garang, very fierce, right? And you can see the Maserati grille is laminated. So behind here, this is a radar module for the advanced driver assist features, and you can see behind here these slats are closed, so this has active grille shutters for better aerodynamics. So when the engine does not need the extra airflow to cool, the shutters will shut to enable for better aerodynamics. All right, so you can see up there the front, that is the camera working together with the radar to enable the active cruise control, auto braking, lane keep assist, and all that. So the Levante has lane keep assist, and as I observed with my review of the Ghibli, the lane keep assist operation is rather smooth, okay, in a sense that you can feel a gentle tugging to the steering, but not a heavy yank. So here we have these fins, a Maserati trademark design, 3 air vents here, right? And so also you get frameless doors. Okay, frameless doors. Frameless doors, and yeah, 21-inch alloy wheels. The rear brakes look rather small, but they're still cross-drilled. The front ones properly big, properly aggressive looking. Right here at the back, and you notice that you have the fitting line between the bumper and the body, and you also have this parallel character line that runs, so it adds a bit of character to the side design, right? And here, so here is the rear look. So, and we look inside the luggage compartment. Here's the key fob. Okay, so yep, it has keyless access. So the boot is not very big, okay, but still you get underneath here hidden compartments. This is a solid piece of plastic, okay, feels very of good quality. And here you have a 12-volt socket. You got this strap here for you to hold things, another strap here, and so here, okay, now this is a powered tailgate, all right, but typically, right, we would reach for the power tailgate switch up here, somewhere here, but it's not. So the first time when I saw this, I thought, manual tailgate. Then I remembered it opened automatically. So what Maserati has done instead actually is that they have put the tailgate closing switch here, which is not immediately intuitive to first-time users, but if you think of it long-term, once you're familiarized with this car, right, this is a logical place to put it because you don't need to trouble yourself to stretch your arms all the way up. You can just lower this. You can just press it down here in a far more convenient location. So we explore the interior. So the rear seats, right? Nice. It's nice leather here. Okay. And yep, ISOFIX mounts here. Takes a bit of effort to locate. And here's the armrest, a relatively simple armrest. Okay, but it still has this nice little touch here with the chrome ring finish. Here is the rear aircon vents, complete with rear zone climate control. And so here got a 12-volt socket, 2 USB ports here, down there. So all this is a leather surface, but this one looks a bit this one does not look smooth. Okay, I'm not sure why. Stitching on the seat looks okay, right? The leather itself feels nice to the touch. The roof, Alcantara material, so looks good. And you got Bowers and Wilkins audio system here. Now the scuff plate here, surprisingly they didn't put a metal scuff plate here. I was shocked. I thought they would have put a metal scuff plate here. Oh, so here you have this lever here. Fold the seat forward, and what you have here, all right, so this floor here is slanted, but it is seamless, so you can load heavy objects, bulky objects here. It will sit nicely on the ground, but it's just that it slides a little backwards. Okay, so it's locked, and you pull this, I think, to release it. Yep. Okay, and we come to the front. Okay, so let's look at the overall cabin, and we step inside. So this is this cabin here has all very familiar switchgear from the Ghibli last week. Same instrument cluster design, the infotainment system, as I mentioned, same observations. All right, decent looking, but it does look a little aged compared to some of the infotainment systems available in German cars. It does not look as it somehow does. This one looks, the screen, right, as in like the interface and all, looks like something that came out 5 years ago, right? And from my Ghibli review, some of my Ghibli posts, a lot of people were commenting that, you know, the some of these switch gear are from the Fiat Chrysler parts bin. That may be true, but then again, here in Malaysia we don't get many Fiat Chrysler cars, so honestly that is not a big deal to me. I do feel that build quality here seems better than what I recall of the Ghibli, even though the switchgear looks broadly the same. Okay. Oh, I also like this particular design touch. This part of it where this carbon fiber trim meets the aircon vent, yeah, looks like, it reminds me of a knife, right? A combat knife or a sword. Yeah, the stitching of the leather, the joining of the panels seems better than the Ghibli to me. All right, and so here, carbon fiber trim here. All these switchgear common from the Ghibli, and you see so what they have done here is you have all, as usual with all these cars, you have driving modes, right? So what they have here is instead of a rotary knob or a rocker switch, what Maserati has done is give you straight access. Straight away you can choose to access sport mode, all right, or ice driving mode. This is for snow. Okay, ice is for snow, which we don't need it here. Maybe you can consider trying using this in heavy rain, I guess, or you can have off-road driving mode. All right, and this is electronic stability control, so everything is accessed by one press of the button. And the thing is that when you access sport mode, everything feels immediately sharper and tighter. Steering, suspension, engine. Okay, now let me just deactivate sport mode. And so here is a suspension level adjustment. Let me just show you. So the car actually seems to rock its way up, so it feels like it raises the rear axle first, and then after that it push up the front axle. All right, but well, yeah. So right now I'm at the tallest off-road mode. Let me just step out and show you the difference. So right now I'm in off-road, the highest mode, right? So I step out and you can see immediately the wheel arch, all right, there's a much bigger clearance of the wheel arch gap. Now I go in and I set it to the lowest. Yep, and so look at the difference now that the suspension is lowered. Look at the gap of the wheel arch. Okay, so let's continue exploring other parts of the cabin. Now, the center console, all right. So there is a good utilization of space here in the center console, in that this part, okay, this part is all storage space, and is achieved without sacrificing aesthetics. And I like how ingeniously they set this piece up. So you see, this part here looks symmetrical, and the significance of this is very simple. For left-hand drive, what they have to do is, all they have to do is just mirror this setup, and they can keep this same mold here. So this is a very clever way on Maserati's part to save their molding cost, all right, and at the same time, you know, create a design that is optimized for both left and right hand drive. Okay, yeah, so switchgear quality here is, well, this is the same switchgear that I can see from the Ghibli, but the button feel, it's not as solid as you would get in the Germans, but doesn't feel too flimsy either lah. The only criticism of the quality really will be these two caps, these two lids. So you see this one, right, spring loaded. The retraction mechanism really does not feel that smooth. But although the utilization of space here is, this too is puzzling for me. Maybe they didn't really need to mold it into a cup holder. They could just use this entire space as a storage tray instead of, you know, taking the effort to mold these two cup holders. This lid here also is unique, right? It is spring loaded, so when I press this, itself retracts in, and so it's a rather deep storage space, right? You can see my whole palm going in, and there's another tray here that goes deep inside, so you can store your phone here. You've got a USB port there, what you call an SD card slot, as well as an aux jack in. But this lid, all right, you have to pull. The closing is not spring loaded, and yep, as you can see, it doesn't close successfully every time. Okay, but still, the overall feeling, the cabin quality is really not there with the Germans. So this car also comes with a 360-degree camera. All right, let me engage reverse gear, and just to show you up close, resolution is pretty average, but the stitching of the four images, all right, is very well executed. I can barely see where is the, you know, where are the joining, where the parts, where it joins, because it is so seamless. Now I'll just slowly reverse. Okay, now I'm in a shadow zone, right? Now I'm in a shadow as I'll slowly reverse. Okay, now you can see this is where the front and side camera joins, all right? But overall, it is a very seamless, very easy to understand. Okay, now right now I'm approaching that Ferrari there, and I'm reversing. So yeah, looks very clear to me. Very good image stitching. Okay guys, so conclusion time. 788,000 ringgit. What do you get? Quality wise, not as good as the Germans for sure, but you do get more flair. The design there is more flair in the way the cabin is laid out, all right? More variety in terms of materials, color, all right? More contrast, more curves, all right? The infotainment system does feel dated, all right? But design wise, it is still a very lovely designed to behold. And from the outside, this thing looks $1,000,000. So you see, when you drive this out, okay, nobody is going to think that you have spent anything less than 800,000 ringgit. It is that perception from onlookers that you get, all right, that still sees to it that this car justifies the money. All right, yeah. So design, this car nails it. Driving, as I said earlier, it is sporty first and comfortable second, but it does sporty very, very well, and it does comfortable reasonably well enough that it is a usable day-to-day driver. So overall, 788,000 ringgit. Well, it is not an easy amount of money to part ways with, but if you are looking for something that stands out of the crowd, well, this stands out of the crowd, no doubt.